Welcome to Lock It Down Sports. I'm Locke Hoover, and as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up on Media on Twitter. You can also check us out at Recliner Sports Media. Recliner Media got changed on me. Recliner Media to follow us and check us out there as well. And today on the show, the first rankings that actually matter. We've got a calendar problem, which I'll explain a little bit later, and the state of the Falcons. And that's really what I want to start the show off today with. What are the Falcons? Where are they? I mean, it's disaster after disaster with Raheem Morris, with the offense, with the special teams, with everything, everything. There's a lot of problems with this Falcons team. And they have no first round pick in 2026. But that's not the outrage. I'm okay with that. There's been Twitter outrage here recently about, oh my gosh, you've got a 4-8 Falcons team. They look like trash. They're playing like trash. They're run by a owner and Rich McKay who can't get out of their own way. They've got too big of egos to let the people they hire actually do the job. They think they know best when it comes to hiring a head coach in Arthur Blank. They don't have a first round pick, I said, because they traded up to go get James Pierce. And that's the outrage. That's the issue. I can't believe we traded a 2026 first round pick to go back in the first round and get, wait for it, something the Falcons haven't had in 15 years. Pass rush and sacking the quarterback. And that's exactly what the Falcons are doing. They rank second in the league. 16th in hurries as a team. That's average, but that's, middle of the pack. But the big number, sacks. And your 2 first round picks, the guy you traded back up in the first round for, James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee, has 5 sacks, 15 tackles, and 5 tackles for loss. Your other first round pick, Jalen Walker, 5 sacks, 31 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss. With a top 5 or top 10 pick, did the Falcons get a primetime player better than Pierce in that spot? I don't know. There's a lot of needs on the Falcons, obviously. Receiver being one of them. Defensive end would have been one of them. There's as bad as I can tell, there's a lot of right answers with picks. But not only did you get a potential star in Pierce, you got him a year early. And you know what? If the Falcons were competent, if they had a competent team and coaching staff and front office, i.e. Rich McKay, that late round pick, that 2026 pick might have been a late round pick. Because you know what? We've got a pass rush. We got bookend rookie pass rushers and Jalen Walker and James Pierce. And if you're in the playoff hunt or you're 8-4, that picture looks a little bit better now, does it not? But the outrage, since the Falcons suck, thanks to all the incompetence, there's this outrage that, oh my gosh, there's no first round pick for them in 2026. Well, no. They still got their first round pick. They just got a year early in the 2025 draft over a position of need. And a guy that has looked good. What a rookie might finish with a 10 sack season. Do you take that? Absolutely, you do. I mean, there's I mean, why not? There's plenty of time left. You get a rookie double digit sack guy in the first round. Are you pissed at that? What if you get two? Huh? What if Walker and Pierce both get 10 sacks? What's the issue there? Is there a 10 sack guy coming out of this year's draft? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, I've studied tape, I've studied film. But look, you see what he's done. And like I said, if the Falcons are 8-4, this whole narrative change of, wow, what a great pick the Falcons made to trade up to get a young, explosive pass rusher. Look how much he's helped this 8-4 Falcons team get a pass rush for something they haven't had. And I feel like my lifetime, over 15 years, 15 plus years outside of the one Vic Beasley year. Outside of that, and that was one defensive end. You might get two defensive ends that are dynamite. It's important. It's not it's fine. It's a good thing. I'm happy about, especially his production. Now, if he's sitting on one sack, then it's like, okay, there might be some gripe. There might be some complaining, right? He's got 5 sacks, 15 tackles for losses. 15 total tackles and 5 tackles for losses in Pierce. The outrage of trading up to get him late in the first round. And you get, if you're winning like you're supposed, like you were expected to, right? Hey, we got this rookie quarterback, or the second year quarterback played a few games last year. We like what we saw in Michael Penix, Yes, he gets hurt. I understand all that, but you're going to the year. Let's bump up the defense. Let's boost it. Let's get some bookends at defensive end to go after and get the quarterback. And you know what? They've done that. Them and as a team as well. They've done their job. Pierce and Walker. But since we're talking about the pick that traded up for James Pierce, absolutely done his job as well. Getting after the quarterback, getting sacks like he's supposed to do. Being disruptive and causing havoc. That's not on the Falcons. That's not their fault. The Falcons suck. The incompetence of Rich McKay and Raheem Morris and the staff, and them being called predictable on offense. There's many times, oh yeah, it's predictable. Oh yeah, pistol, they're going to run Bijan Robinson. We know what we're going to do, So I like the pick. I was fine with it then. I'm fine with it now, especially how he's playing and what he's doing defensively. Now, the first rankings that actually matter came out, obviously, and that's the college football playoff rankings. And here's to me why they matter. The first one that actually matters before conference championship games. It gives you some certainties, like who's a lock and what spots, such as Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. I don't think they're really moving. I don't see them moving. And they're locked into really their selected playoff spot. Their seeding. I think also too, Alabama being at 9 has some meaning. As I don't see them, they're in the playoffs. Regardless if they even if they lose the SEC championship game to Georgia. And I'm not saying they are. And Alabama is beaten whatever it is. Georgia can't get over the Alabama hump, so they very, very well could beat Georgia. But them sitting at 9, if they lose, they might drop to 10. But a spot where Notre Dame's sitting, who we'll get to in a minute, but I think they're in, and they shouldn't be punished for being forced to play an extra game. Because why are they getting punished and Notre Dame would end up getting rewarded, moving up a spot or two when they're sitting at home? Since they're not playing in their conference championship game, since they're not conference champs of anything, they're sitting at home. But movement can still happen at the bottom with Texas Tech, BYU, Notre Dame, and Miami. I mean, there's some questions. I mean, if BYU wins the Big 12 championship, Texas Tech's still in as an at-large. BYU wins, clinches a spot being a conference champ. That right there could bump Notre Dame out of playoffs. You have those two schools. BYU moves up since they're sitting at 11. Notre Dame at 10. As they say, it's another data point we can look at, as the committee would say. We got that additional data point for BYU to get in. Very well. 2, it could also look at, if BYU wins, that bumps up Miami right next to Notre Dame. Then they have to look at the head-to-head and be like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Miami did beat Notre Dame, right? Right? Oh, yeah. We almost forgot, and it didn't matter because it was early in the season. Because if you lose early, it doesn't matter as much. So that could be another possibility, too, of now we're forced to actually honor teams playing on the field, which obviously is a big plus for Miami. Here's where things can get crazy, though. And that is, what if Virginia loses? I know if they win, it's easy. They're the ACC winner. They're high enough ranked. They get in, and then it's the highest G5 school. Whether it's North Texas, whether it's Tulane, whether it's James Madison, whoever. But it'll probably be either North Texas or Tulane as the highest ranked teams. Maybe James Madison, who knows? One of those three is the highest ranked D5. If Duke wins, it's no holds bar as a 5-loss ACC conference champ. They're not getting in. So then it would be 2 G5 schools getting in, because it's conferences to get in that are ranked the highest as conference champs. So then it's North Texas or Tulane. Then it's a James Madison, maybe not. Maybe it's a Boise State. Maybe it's a UNLV. Heck, things get wild. My Fighting Owls of Kennesaw State. I know that Kennesaw State's not happening, but they could win the conference championship on Friday night in Conference USA. But 2 G5 schools could get in if Duke wins, and that's when it gets messy. I mean, to me, that's when it would become a complete joke. For these power conferences, power teams to not get in, whether it's whoever it falls, whether it's a BYU, a Notre Dame, a Miami, not getting in over, instead of one of those schools is losing out to not 1 but 2 G5 schools, And I'm okay with one. I'm perfectly fine with whoever the one G5 school is, but not two. There's more deserving teams than a second G5 school. Heck, even Vandy and Texas, who to me aren't, Texas doesn't even have a prayer would be more deserving of a second G5 school. And they got 3 losses and they're completely out of it. Same thing with Vandy with 2 losses. More deserving than a second G5 school. Whoever that G5 school might be. And once again, it's just how the committee has it structured of conference champs, the emphasis of conference champs. Yes, it's important to win your conference, obviously. But when you have this cachet about it, I mean, obviously they already changed it once where your conference champs get in as, they have the automatic bye. How much of a disaster would that be this year too? So thankfully that's been fixed. And if this madness happens with Duke winning, it's just more of a push to bring the 16-team playoff in, which I completely am against and disagree with. But it's another reason for the committee to tweak the rules once again and change and switch them. And you know what? They might do it regardless, even if Virginia wins. Even if Virginia wins the ACC championship game, they're like, okay, we're going to be at 12 teams for a year or two before it sadly probably expands to 16. What can we do here to make sure we have, and I don't even want to say the best teams, because the committee, I don't think even really truly picks the best teams or the most deserving teams. They pick the path of least resistance. They pick the path of least resistance for schools to get in. Case in point, Notre Dame. If they didn't have the Golden Dome on their helmets, no offense to these two schools, say the helmet said TCU or Northwestern on there, are they even in the conversation that Notre Dame's in with that schedule? With it's TCU. Whatever. 2 losses. It's TCU. It's Northwestern. It's Boston College. Heck, you do the exact same thing. Oh, it's Vandy. It's Vandy. Right? Why? Cool. It's Vandy. What does that do for us? What does that bring us? It's Vandy. But Notre Dame, on the other hand, whoa. Path of least resistance. The easiest choice for them, not the best, not the most deserving. And that's another issue with this committee. It's once again, it's so flawed. So flawed. Flawed. But that's the setup. And that's where it's at. Now, something else that's a problem outside of the college football playoff committee, selection committee, is the college football calendar. If you watch anything that took place, it's all the coaching changes. Obviously, LSU and Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. All those issues. I mean, how crazy is it that a team in the playoffs has an interim coach coaching them in the playoffs? Yes, they promoted Pete Golding, but he's not your head coach. He didn't coach you all year. He's your defensive coordinator. Like, how is that possible? I mean, also, all these other coaches leaving right before signing day or the day before signing day with Auburn and Florida and maybe Ole Miss. What are they doing? Don't even get me started with Penn State and Matt Campbell, who's being reported as signing today to be next head coach at Penn State, which good hire for Penn State. What he's done at Iowa State, I mean, it's a great pickup. But signing has already happened. Yes, you've got the portal, and he's going to bring in a bunch of kids from the portal. But you need the foundation. You need foundation classes and kids, not transfer portal. I think you've seen all the successful programs since the start of the portal don't live in the portal. They go and plunk a handful of guys from the portal to fill in what they've missed in recruiting or, some deficiencies. We need some corners. We need to go to safety or two. We need to go get that running back. They don't live in the portal. They supplement their high school recruiting classes with the portal. So Penn State, they signed one? I have to go back and double check. 1 or 2 kids. I mean, you have programs like South Dakota having a higher rate of recruiting class than Penn State. You heard that right. Yeah. FCS South Dakota. No, I mean, good power. They're a power FCS school, but South Dakota has a better recruiting class than Penn State. Excuse me? So the calendar, it has to be moved. And I can't take credit for this. I don't remember who tweeted this. And I apologize. Maybe it was Barrett Salee, I believe. Might have been. Where he's talking about make it the calendar where at least make it to after the first round of the playoffs. I mean, you want to be more like the NFL. You go to this 12-team playoff. Yes, there's some money involved, obviously, going to this 12-team playoff. But you also want to be like the NFL when it comes to that sort of thing. There's a freeze period where teams looking for head coaches can't talk to NFL coaches during the playoffs. You sure as heck aren't going to have the hiring of an offensive coordinator from a playoff NFL team to be the head coach and say, sorry, Andy Reid, I gotta go get ready for the draft. I gotta evaluate my team. You know, that doesn't happen. Move signing day back. Move the transfer portal back. So kids know, okay, Matt Campbell is going to be the head coach at Penn State. Maybe I sign at Penn State instead of Iowa State. Or that's a different class, though. You know, maybe, you know what? I really like Matt Campbell, what he did at Iowa State, but I'm getting offers from Georgia and Florida and Tennessee and South Carolina and LSU and Ole Miss and Penn State and Michigan and Ohio State. Like that's a different level of recruiting than Iowa State. It just is. Sorry, it's different kid. Yes, Iowa State gets some solid good kids, but it's just different. It's a different level. So that's it. Why do they not move it back? I don't know. There's so many good things, but also so many issues with college football. And that was just 2 of them right there. 2 of the most important ones, the playoff and the current calendar that is the college football recruiting, coaching hire period. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on tweeting us. So check us out at Recliner Media as well. You've listened to Lock It Down Sports. I'm Locke Hoover. I'll talk to you next week.